Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Lisboan Live. Just bear with me. Sorry, we're having slight technical difficulties. Just one second. There we go. Sorry. My name is Gudmund Johnson, and I'm the founding principal of the Lisbon International School here in Lisbon, Portugal. And the intention today is, well, really twofold. One is to give you an overview of the Lisbon. Who are we? What are we trying to achieve? And then I have a guest who will be joining me for the second half of the session today, and then also give you an opportunity to ask us questions that you may have about the school. And so without further ado, I'm going to share my screen with you and give you a flavor of who we are, the Lisbon. And as you see in the background behind me before I start my presentation, this is a recent photograph from the exterior of our beautiful buildings. So here we are, the Lisbon International School. And let me I'd like to start off by giving you a bit of a video introduction to the school, and then walk you through the DNA of our school. Firstly, it's important to note that these beautiful historic buildings were built in 1908. Their original life was they served as a pasta factory here in the neighborhood of Alcântara, here in Lisbon. And you can see pictures there of the original pasta factory of the A Napolitana factory. Quite extraordinary images. And it's such a wonderful opportunity to start something new in a building that has this heritage and history. And a short video to give you a flavor of the Lisbon. Bear in mind that the images that you see in this video, these are computer renders of the interiors, interiors that are now being fitted with furniture. So we aim for our next presentation to actually to show you footage from within the actual buildings themselves. That's our auditorium and theatre, our senior school library, and the gardens, courtyards. Dining hall. Beautiful bright spaces, science laboratories. Dining hall, that building there, and the theatre is upstairs. So pictures taken this morning of the campus. We are currently having classrooms fitted with furniture, with desks, and of course wiring for our technology, the screens, etc., all gone in. And we are in the process of finalizing all of our procurement for a wide range of educational resources that will be delivered over the coming weeks. The picture on the right-hand side is actually from the top of the main building. That's where we will have our administrative offices. And you can see some of the beautiful original wooden beams under the roof there. And of course, we have been very careful and have in fact been required to actually preserve the original features of the building, as the buildings themselves are a protected historic landmark in Lisbon. But the central image there, this is one of the central features of all of our classrooms. We call it the learning wall. And those two panels in the middle of that image, behind those panels is a screen. And so the two whiteboards, we are able to either expose the screen, of course, utilize that technology whenever we feel that we need to. And of course, we want to make sure that we're exposing our children to technology in ways that they can leverage and access and utilize this technology, but also do so in a way that is responsible um, and intentional and phase in the way in which we use screen time, for example, as the children get older. So we can cover the screen, as you can see there, which I think is a really powerful feature of our school. And on the left-hand side, we've got breakout spaces, learning spaces that we'll be utilizing for a whole wide range of activities beyond the classroom itself. Here you can see, again, this is the multitude of classrooms here. Note that the floor fittings are actually underneath those panels you see. Those are just protective panels to protect the actual flooring from scratching and dust, etc. Because, of course, there's still work going on in and around the building. But you'll see that there are these light blue steel beams in multitude of places, and these are the original beams. And apparently the steel itself within the Lisboan actually has a relation to the Eiffel Tower of Paris. Again, another interesting feature of our heritage and history. A couple of pictures of the exteriors. So these are, as you can see, they're not far away from the actual renders that you saw in that video. The picture on the right-hand side we call the silo. So this is where they used to store all of the flour of the pasta factory. And apparently when you store flour, it can be an explosive. So hence the silo has incredibly thick walls, sometimes in excess of 1.5 meters. And that building will contain our parent welcome center. So this is a place where you can come and, as a parent, come and meet other parents, talk to our admissions team, talk to the finance team, get a cup of coffee, make new friends, socialize. Above that floor, we have what we call a Fab Lab. So basically, ways in which we can further explore and utilize technology for the children in lots of creative and exciting ways, and also science laboratories. And then the picture on the left, you see the main building in the background, and that is a 4-floor building with spaces. We've got the early years center, which is a school within a school on the ground floor, and the children get older as you move up through the building. And the picture, the building in the foreground, is where we will have our dining hall. We call it the pasta factory, and we have the theatre upstairs. So we have largely finalized the recruitment of our founding team, and we will very soon start actually sharing information about the really wonderful teaching staff that we have recruited from within Portugal and across the world. So currently, at the moment, this is the founding team. Myself, Amy Clifford, who joins us as the founding head of primary, a very experienced primary specialist, and together with Francisco Vigo, our education consultant. And then we have a combo team of Lexi Lloyd Owen and Katrina Hegner Jonsson driving forward our admissions. And some of you may already have spoken to them to express interest in the school. And then John Searles, our marketing manager. To come on to why do we do what we do as a school? And fundamentally important to any school, the values, the principles of our school. And as you'll see, these are really powerful and important ideas. And now we have the opportunity to actually breathe life into our values, into our principles, as we actually welcome children and staff into our community, and parents, of course, as well. Made in Lisbon, ready for the world. Well, what does this mean? It's important that we recognize and explore and respect the heritage of Lisbon and Portugal. Lisbon has so much to offer, such a dynamic and vibrant city in Europe. But in the way in which we design our education systems, the learned experience for every child, every day, growing their perspectives and understanding of perspectives from around the world. And of course, that is the unique opportunity of being at an international school. You get to live and work with people from all over the world and understand the differences, but also the similarities. We share far more than divides us. Our principles of belong, own, act, and of course, the acronym of BOA, the Portuguese word for good. It's vitally important that we feel a sense of belonging. Research shows us And of course, we know inherently that to be a successful learner, to be successful anywhere, feeling a strong sense of belonging within the community. And that applies to everybody, the children, the parents, and the staff, that we develop a kind and caring community. And that relates to own, that we are given ownership, that we are given voice of our in terms of the way in which our learning environments are shaped and designed. And again, that links into ACT. We know that a healthy education, strong education, is about hands-on action, being able to put into action the principles and ideas you explore within the classroom and beyond the classroom. And they all link together. The curriculum itself within the school, we are a Cambridge International School. So we're basically a school that is founded within the principles of the English National Curriculum, but contextualized for an international context. And so this runs from the early years and the foundation stage, so from 3 years old, all the way up to year 6. So that's grade 5, if you're used to the American system. So we carry that Cambridge curriculum forward into the secondary school. And then that leads to the final 2 years of the secondary school in years 10 and 11, where we offer the International General Certificate of Secondary Education, or the IGCSEs, and then eventually leading on to the final 2 years of the school, where we will have the International Baccalaureate, an internationally recognized pre-university qualification, whether it's here in Portugal or for top universities around the world. What is it like to be in our school? So 3 children, fictitious children, at the school. Sophia, coming in from 3 years old. And I should say that we aim to offer places at the Lisboan from 3 years old up to 14, 15 years old. So that's from the early years all the way up through and including year 10 for our opening day on the 1st of September of this year. So Sophia is a foundation learner at the Lisboan. And what is her day like? And fundamentally, it has to be about fostering Sophia's creativity. All children are so beautifully and naturally creative, and fostering and nurturing their play in their development of all of their different motor skills, their socio-emotional development, building friendships, and whether it be through music and movement and dance, etc., through going out into our school grounds and, of course, out beyond our school. That's very important. We want to offer opportunities for all of our children to explore the city, and, of course, in safe and responsible ways. And having time also to having downtime and having that time for play throughout the day, and then ready for home, hopefully covered in some paint and possibly some soil and mud. And then we meet Bella. So we're moving up through the school. Bella is in year 3. And again, fostering hands-on learning through our inquiry-based education, where we explore big picture questions throughout the day and across the week. Of course, we have snack and play, as all of our students do. And we have a nutritious lunch every day, of course, in our pasta factory. Exploring music, so creativity, whether it be drama or music. And of course, vitally important that we offer exciting opportunities to develop physical exercise, maintain a healthy lifestyle, and learn to live healthily across our lives beyond school. And then going out beyond the school, whether it be out to the Monsanto forest or to the climbing walls at Escala 25. And then we end our day with a well-earned pastel de nata. And then we meet Lucas in year 10. So we're going up to and including year 10 in September, and then introducing the years beyond. So for the year beyond, we introduce year 11. And then in 2 years' time, we introduce the first of the 2 years of the International Baccalaureate. So we start the day at 8:30 with lessons. We have hour-long lessons. And we have a range of subjects, whether it be literature, mathematics and science, or the humanities of business, geography. And then we have a morning break for 20 minutes. And then we also have electives. Students can choose to explore different subjects beyond the core subjects, as I say, whether it's business or art or geography. and developing their personal passions. And then all students have sport. We have our beautiful sports hall here at the Lisboan, but we also will be able to utilize the facilities at Atletico, which is very close, just north of our school campus, or even going out into the Monsanto forest or going south to the river. And then, of course, study time, mentorship, where students work together to collaborate, but also learn from each other and work with their teachers. We will have we will have a co-curricular program which starts at 4 p.m. and that runs till 5 p.m. And we also have a second optional co-curricular activity which runs from 5 to 6 p.m. as well. And there's also, we're developing a relationship with the Metropolitana Orchestra, one of the numerous opportunities for our students. Central to the identity of the Lisboan is the Lisboan experience. And this is our co-curricular program. All learning is important. It doesn't matter where it takes place, whether it's inside the school, in our classrooms, or corridors, the courtyards, or the sports hall, or beyond our school, out in the Monsanto forest. All of it is important. And it's exciting to be able to create and design a curriculum whereby we think very carefully and intentionally about all of those learning experiences, how they link together. And it's important that we develop and foster leadership skills, teamwork skills, collaboration, empathy, and impact through all of these different opportunities of learning through the Lisbon experience. Just a brief overview of some of the relationships that we have developed or in the process of developing. We have sailing opportunities out on the river and the paddle club. We have the rock climbing wall. I've mentioned the Metropolitana Orchestra for music. The Agronomia, the Agricultural College, where we want to give opportunities for learning about animals and plants and being outdoors and going out into the Monsanto forest. We want to develop a forest school, the Atletico sports facility, and of course going out to the coastline and the beaches of surfing and swimming. The city as a classroom. This is a centrally important idea that I've mentioned. We are in the center of Lisbon. We are so close to these fantastic facilities, and it's important that we leverage every opportunity for our children. And also vitally important is to give back. But here, just to give you an indication of distance, we can be out at the climbing wall in less than 5 minutes. We can be out at Club de Padel in about 8 minutes. And then between 7 to 9 minutes, be out at Agronomia with all of their incredible facilities. We were actually there today in the beautiful sunshine, seeing their vineyards and their observatory, their amphitheater, and their beautiful, beautiful buildings. Just an extraordinary place. Atletico is about 8 minutes walk away with their sports fields and facilities. Metropolitana, about a 9-minute walk away. And we will also be utilizing bus services for going longer distances as well. So, for example, in this case, going sailing along the river by bus about 6 minutes. It's important to note that the technology is important, of course, across all phases of the school, but it's also really important that we are responsible and very intentional in our use of technology. So the Lisbon, we've made the decision that we will be a no-phone school. And fundamentally, that is to promote social interaction for our children. Growing research and evidence shows the negative impacts of exposure to screen time, particularly for the younger children, and the negative impacts it can have on mental and social development of children. But we have to make sure that we are utilizing and leveraging technology across the school for them to be able to leverage and exercise this technology, know how to use this technology as they get older, particularly, so that they can be true global citizens who are switched on and informed and who can make sense of the multitude of information sources that they're presented with every day. So as I say, technology, being masters of it and not slaves to it, that we control it, it does not control us. And of course, that's a complex aspect of being able to incorporate technology in our schools, that we are we are creators as opposed to being just consumers of content, of technology, and that there is that balance and purpose so that they have that real world readiness for the future. To conclude the presentation today, a vitally important aspect of the DNA of our school is the Lisboan promise. That we are making the promise for not just the daily life of our students in the school, the present, but also for the future. That we are making positive impact, that we strive to make positive change for our communities and for our planet. So it's not just about the climate, it's also about making socially responsible choices as well, and that we are building links within the community of Alcantara that we can give back to the community through the activities that our students choose to design and engage with, but also giving the community of Alcantara and, of course, wider Lisbon the opportunity to come into our school as well and benefit from the education that we can offer them. Um, and then beyond Lisbon, having that global perspective, being able to impact communities around the world through the Lisbon Promise. So, an important strand of the Lisbon Promise is, for example, that all of our staff give 1 day of their pay every year that goes into a foundation fund, and then we choose projects around the world that we support. We aim to overstaff our schools by 1 to 2 people every year, so that you as a staff member can apply to go on a 12-month sabbatical and support and lead one of these projects together with the students within our schools. So a vitally important aspect of the DNA of the Lisboan and of Artemis education. And of course, you as parents are vitally important. The partnerships that we develop together, and the culture of the school, the friendships that you make, the offerings that you can actually contribute to the school, the learning opportunities for the children are essentially important. So we want to engage with you as much as you want to engage with us. And finally, I should advertise the Adventure Camp. So from the 14th to the 18th of April, we are running the camp here in Lisbon. We have daily activities ranging from team building to creative expression to physical challenge and environmental connection. And the camp runs daily from 9 to 5. And it comes at a cost of €250 per week. And you will find information through that QR code and also through our website. And this is for students aged 5 to 15. And we have a cap of 28 students. So places are filling up quite quickly. So if you would like to send your child or children to the camp, please connect with us and we can give you more information. Now, I would like to, before we go on to the questions and answers, I would like to introduce a guest and ask John to come and join me. John, come and sit over here with me. So it gives me great pleasure to welcome John Bohr. John Bohr has been visiting us here in Lisbon this week. John, you are the Chief Education Officer of Artemis Education.
Correct.
Pleasure to have you here in Lisbon.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
And thank you for your support. Tell us about, who are you, John?
Who am I? My name is John Bohr, and I have been engaged in education now for nearly 45, 50 years. I'm losing count. I was born in Uganda in Africa and was brought up there as a little boy. And then my family moved to Botswana, but I became a boarder in Africa at a very young age, and then again boarding in the UK. So I was flying backwards and forwards from home to school. And over the years of being at school, I just felt there was something about schools that, because I think it was also my home, that started to really bite inside me. And I had two or three inspirational teachers in my time at school, and many terrible teachers in my time at school. And I think it was both sides of that coin that made me feel that one side made me feel that this was a really worthwhile job to do, working with young people in school and supporting them. And the other side, where I had those terrible teachers, I knew it could be done better, even as a young child. Anyway, so I became a teacher in the 70s, and I then became a head teacher in the 80s after a fairly short teaching career. And I was a head of 3 schools in the UK over a period of 35 years. And then, having thought I would retire in 2017, found the wonderful opportunity to go back to East Africa to be director of St Andrew's School in Turi, which is upcountry, 600 internet pupil boarding school, international school, where I was there with my wife, and we had a fabulous 4 years. And I have subsequently, also in parallel with that, been advising a school in Japan, which was a founding school. We opened in 2020 at the beginning of COVID, which was interesting. And then 5 years later, we have a thriving school. It's Japan's first elementary boarding school, and the graduates, and I was there 2 weeks ago at the graduation ceremony, are now moving to all parts of the world.
Wonderful.
For their secondary school. And I also got engaged with Artemis about 4 years ago as an advisor, as the chief education officer, to add whatever experience and knowledge I could to support you, your fellow principals, and the school. And so that's what I do now.
Thank you, John. Well, it's such a pleasure to have you here in Lisbon for the week.
Well, it's been great. I brought some lovely weather too.
You brought the sun finally after weeks of rain.
Yeah.
And it truly is such a valuable experience to have you here and to be able to draw upon your expertise. So thank you, John.
Pleasure.
In terms of working, I mean, you've given your experience of working with schools both in the UK and around the world, and through your work with Artemis. What has drawn you to Artemis, and in particular to the Lisboan, and what excites you most about the Artemis and Lisboan projects?
Well, as far as Artemis is concerned, bearing in mind, I mean, this is going to sound a bit smug. I don't need to work. I've done a lot of work. I was truly touched by the principles of Artemis that made me feel that if I was going to work for an international schools group, and I was invited to do so by the chief executive, Artemis, the values that Artemis has, and I can see them in the schools already that exist, really touched a nerve with me and made me feel that actually, yes, that's what schools can be. And so I know many international school groups and so on, and I'm sure they're excellent, but they didn't they're and they will have values, but I honestly felt when I talked to the people who were at the top of Artemis that these were people who had a genuine passion for doing this well, a genuine passion. It was not about money, it wasn't about land, it wasn't about real estate, it wasn't about status, it was about education. And that I thought, yes, those are people I'd like to work with. And so that's what brought me to Artemis. And what's not to love about this?
That is true. That is true.
You took me on a tour of the site a few days ago, and that is already a fantastic facility, and it's going to be a fabulous school. And it's in the heart of this extraordinary area of Lisbon. And I would love to be doing your job. I think that's such an exciting opportunity.
It is.
That school is going to be so fabulous. And I've seen that the people you've already recruited as your teachers, your founding teachers, and the head of juniors. I mean, I think it's going to be such a great addition to what I mean. Lisbon has got some really good schools.
Yeah.
But I think this is going to be a slightly different school.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, if I could spare your blushes, I think the thing that really also excites me about the Lisboan is having you in that seat.
Well, that's very nice of you to say.
Well, and I'm not trying to butt you up or anything, but I genuinely think I'm very excited because you have a unique and different perspective on education from your background. And I think all school principals should have something really interesting about them, which is what you do.
Thank you, John. I mean, I would absolutely echo what you're saying in terms of, I think back to the days when I was actually quite recently, back in October, being interviewed for this role by yourself and other people. And what struck me immediately was exactly that, the values and the vision. of in talking to the people, including yourself and others at the top
Yeah.
of Artemis, and that close alignment, with that focus, genuine focus on education, and the belief that education can be so powerful
Yeah.
in shaping
Mm.
and changing lives for the better.
Well, that's why we do the job. And I, these are not small schools either, but with the principles in place you're placing the child at the center of what you do. It's not about the school buildings. It's not about the adults in the school.
Exactly. It's about
It's
kids.
the centrality of the child within that school environment and within that classroom or within that group or within that house or however you are organizing it. It's the importance of that each individual child. And that's why I'm so excited about what's going to happen literally just over
Just down
there.
the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Now, parents obviously being a vitally important
Mhm.
partner in the journey of every child at any school.
Yeah.
If a parent were to ask you, John, why should I be a part of the Lisboan? What would you say to them if they're considering joining?
Well, we've touched a lot on that.
We
I,
have.
I think I think why the Lisboan? Because the great thing is you do have a choice. So I would, if I were the parents who may be listening or listening to this in the future or thinking about the Lisboan, um, what I would be asking to slightly turn the question around
Mm,
is I'd be looking you in the eyes
mm,
and saying, what are your values?
right.
What do you believe in? Because everything comes down from the top. You can have you can have all the structures in place. You can have wonderful facilities. You can have everything going for you. You can be dazzled by the chrome and the steel and the facilities. Uh, but unless the person who's leading that
Mm,
organization has is a passionate and compassionate individual who believes profoundly in what they're doing, then all that is for nothing.
yeah.
So why the Lisboan? I've just said why I'm really pleased that you're sitting here. I think the school is very lucky to have you, and I think and it will be proven that in the few years to come that those founding parents who have placed trust in you, and they are placing trust in you, not in
Mm,
me
mm, mm,
or the buildings or Artemis. They're placing their trust in you. Will have their trust repaid
mm.
hugely, and that's why I would say choose the Lisbon because it's the people.
Yeah. It is all about people.
It's all about people.
Yeah. Thank you. Now, one of the ideas I've heard you talk about, and which I very much admire, and I think is such an important facet of a strong and healthy education, is the idea of human flourishing. Um,
Yeah.
can you tell us what is human flourishing, and how do you envisage that playing a role in any school, and of course at the Lisbon?
I think instinctively, we in all our lives, we know what it is like to flourish. We know when we are flourishing, and we know when we're not. And when you think that we are tasked with having those young lives in front of us, nothing is more important than allowing them to flourish. And I mean that in every sense. I mean, obviously, emotionally, feeling safe and secure within the school environment and in their classroom and their groups. I mean that again, and socially flourishing. So they have friendships, they learn all the ups and downs of relationships in a safe place, which is what I would want for my children at a school. Um, Obviously, we want them to flourish intellectually, to be challenged, to to retain that creativity that every young child has, that is so often squeezed out of them at
Mm,
school because there's only one way to do it,
yeah.
and there's one answer, and it's in the back. That sort of comment.
Yes.
Um, but there isn't, and allow them to ask the questions that have yet to be answered. Ask Steve. Um, so it's a I don't want to say a spiritual thing, but it is almost a spiritual thing that you know when you're flourishing, and you know when you see children in school flourish. They come into school, they want to come into school, they burst into the classroom, they don't want to leave.
Yeah.
And you can sense when they're not, that they are it's all flat, and nothing much is there's no energy. Now, of course, it can't all be bubbles and froth and fun.
Yeah.
You had to have those boundaries, you had to have the calm times, but we all perform better, whether it's learning or functioning in any way, if we feel safe, and the people around us are clearly caring for us. And that's all I've ever brought to every school I've ever run. I mean, we can all get people to devise a curriculum.
Yeah.
We can get people to do all sorts of admin stuff, but you've got to have that core belief, that core sense that it is about the young people, whether they are 4 or 14 or 18, and that they do feel that they are flourishing, that this school is there for them, and the people, the adults, are there for them. And I think that's what it's achievable. I've seen it happen,
Yeah.
and when it's a kind of magic. When it happens, you walk into a school, you think, wow.
Yeah.
And that's what this school will be. I'm sure of it.
Thank you. What a wonderful way to end our conversation.
You can tell I get rather passionate.
Oh, it's for me, it's such a powerful. At the same time, it's sort of it's a combination of something so beautiful and simple, but at the same time also so complicated.
Yeah.
In the same way, because you're dealing with when you're in a school, you've got the relationships between so many different people.
Yeah.
And all of the different backgrounds and perspectives. And of course, that's the beauty of creating a community.
Yeah.
But also the challenge associated with getting it all right.
And there's a trick, if you can carry it off, is that all the hard work is not seen. I think the best schools, if I can put it this way to finish, are, the analogy of the swan gliding across the lake serenely and looking as if there's no effort, and yet underneath it's paddling like mad. I think the best schools are an upside down version of that.
Interesting.
Where there's a lot of fun, splashing, stuff is happening, it's exciting, but underneath it's as calm as it could be. And the people in charge know what they're doing. There's order, there's rigor, there's robustness, but above it feels relaxed. Fantastic. It's informal, and there's freedom. And so it's an inverted swan.
An inverted swan.
That's the model.
Beautiful. I love that. That is a wonderful analogy model. Well, thank you, John.
Pleasure.
Really appreciate the conversation. Pleasure. So we're going to swap over to having our question and answer session. So we have our associate John Searles in the background, who's been collecting questions from you during our conversation and presentation. So, John, if you have any questions to share with us.
Yes, we have a few. It will be more into the details, and thank you, John, for being just I feel inspired myself just watching this, but these will be more into the details of the school and just for curious parents. So I will quickly get into it. Will the school host/participate in sport events with other schools?
Absolutely. That's a vitally important part, developing competition, healthy competition, fun competition for our students. So we'll be looking to join organizations here in Portugal and across the schools in Lisbon. So absolutely, yes.
Very nice. And then another question is demographics. What percentage of Portuguese students do you anticipate enrolling? And regarding socioeconomic diversity, do you offer scholarships and financial aid?
Good questions. So we are now recruiting families to join our school for Lisboan. And I can tell you that what we're seeing is that we have quite a range, very diverse range of families in terms of nationalities, also in terms of backgrounds, and some pretty interesting and unusual career pathways as well for some of our parents. So I think it's true to say that we'll have quite a diverse population, but at the same time, it's also great to see that we're also seeing Portuguese families coming and joining us too. So it's difficult to anticipate exactly what that diversity in terms of the population will look like come the 1st of September when we open our doors. But I think it's safe to say that we'll have a diverse and creative set of parents joining us. So I'm very excited about that. So John, what was the second part of that
Yeah.
question?
Will there be scholarships or financial aid?
Will there be scholarships? Yes, we aim to create scholarships. I think it's really important that we have scholarship programs to be able to support families and students who wouldn't be able to otherwise afford coming to a school like the Lisboan. So we will be introducing a scholarship program, not from the outset in September, but we will be introducing a program very shortly afterwards.
Very nice. There's someone just asked a question, but it can be similar. Can you tell us about the teachers? What percentage of teachers have been hired?
Yes, so we are almost at 100% in terms of our teaching body and the recruitment of our teachers from across the world and also from here in Portugal. Very excited about the people joining us. We've got a very good balance in terms of teachers who have been teaching for maybe 2 or 3 years and also really highly experienced. Because again, I think it's important that we have not only diverse families joining us, but also diversity in terms of our teaching body, different perspectives, excellent teachers, of course. So very excited about bringing them in. But we have almost concluded all of our teaching recruitment to date, and we are about to embark upon the next phase of our recruitment, which is bringing in our teaching assistants and also our administrative and support staff, equally important, of course, as our teaching staff.
Very nice. One question, I mean, two questions going to be tied into one. We have parents
Yeah.
interested in about languages.
Huh?
We have one who is bringing in non-English speakers, and then we have ones bringing in non-Portuguese speakers, and
Yeah.
both are curious what language will look like at the Lisboan.
Yeah, the language of all our learning primarily will be English. We're an English medium school. We will offer other languages, of course, as well. We feel that it's important to recognize and celebrate our Portuguese context, the location of our school here in the beautiful city of Lisbon. So all of our students will learn Portuguese. So we'll be offering Portuguese as a first language and also as an additional language. And then also in the first year, we'll be offering French as well. And then in the year beyond that, Spanish. And then beyond that, we'll be looking at other languages as well. But it's vitally important that we not only foster English for all learners, regardless of their ability, whether they're beginners or more advanced speakers of English, but also that we foster mother tongue. Research shows us that fostering the mother tongue of students leads to a healthier learning environment and allows them to grow and develop in very strong and positive ways.
Very nice. This one has come up often. Homework policy of the
Okay,
Lisboan. I don't think we've missed a presentation yet without asking.
Homework, yes, the dreaded homework. So homework, for me, it's about being very intentional about all learning. Okay, so that's very important. You cannot be giving homework for the sake of giving homework. So, in a nutshell, for our younger students, we will not be setting homework. The majority of learning within our school takes place within our school. And then, so within the primary school, we will not be setting homework. As the children get older, of course, the expectation becomes that they are able to conduct homework. They know how to conduct work at home because that's vitally important. So when they get to the oldest phase of our school, to the International Baccalaureate, so for years 12 and 13, the expectation is that students are doing 2 to 3 hours of work for every subject that they do, and they're doing 6 subjects for the International Baccalaureate. So that's a substantial number of hours that they would be expected to do outside of the classroom, if you like. So we will, of course, facilitate study sessions within our school where they can study independently and, of course, with support as they need to for the oldest children. And we will phase in homework, but it will be done in such a way that it has structure, that it has rigor. We will never expect children to do homework for the following day, for example. and also be very mindful of the additional work that they're having to do. But it always has to be intentional and linked very clearly to what they're doing inside school. That's very clear. So we'll phase that in across the secondary school.
Very nice. This one's good for you.
Yep.
Is there a private lesson for music? Will there be music rooms? Will there be an opera singing room? That wasn't in there.
That'll be my office, the opera singing room. So creativity is going to be at the core of the Lisboan, because creativity is vitally important everywhere, whether you're a scientist or an engineer or, of course, an artist, clearly. So we have we aim to have a rich music program. We've recruited a wonderful music teacher joining us in August. We have music practice rooms. We will have also private music lessons for a range of different instruments. And we have our beautiful auditorium, and the acoustics, although we haven't fully 100% fixed the auditorium yet, it's almost there. The acoustics are already sounding very good. So yes, we will have a range of performances as well for music and for drama. Of course, sometimes the two come together at different parts of the year. We have a wonderful drama teacher coming to join us, a music theatre and choreography specialist joining us from Nashville, USA.
Very nice. This is the last one at the moment, so I think if we can get to it. But what are the expectations of parents at the school? Will there be a parent-teacher association? What kind of involvement can we expect to have?
As much as possible. I would love you as parents to be involved in your children's education as much as possible, in terms of not only, of course, we keeping you updated about the progress your children are making, the lived experience of your children, so that you have a very good sense of what their day looks like, bring you into the school, come and engage with the children and their learning, but also come and offer us opportunities for, share your expertise, your insights. You have so many ideas. You're such a wealth, parents are such an important font of knowledge as well as the staff. So those relationships are very important. Yes, to having an association where parent voice is very important in terms of being able to shape the educational environment within the school, and also be able to support the school in lots of different kinds of ways, whether it be through running events, fundraising, multitude of different range of opportunities. So yes.
It's great. I think that is it from our parents. I do want to take a quick moment to say to them, please do not hesitate to email admissions with any more questions you may have, and we can be sure that anyone will get them. But yes, I think we are done for now.
Great. Wonderful. Excellent. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for attending the presentation. Thank you again to John.
It's great.
Really enjoyed the conversation today, and it's been an absolute pleasure to have you here in Lisbon across this week, and look forward to welcoming you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.